Genius 2. It's probably one of my favorite games of all time, but it has mixed reviews. So why is that? Well, there's no one clear answer, and many different factors to why people are so divided about this game. So, if you'd be so kind as to join my little rant about this game, decide for yourself if this game deserves the division that it has. Firstly, what is Evil Genius 2? Well, it's a strategy game, similar to the likes of 2 Point Hospital and Prison Architect. All three games have a building system, where you have to build a hospital, a prison, or in this game, an evil lair. So let's see how this game tackles its building mechanic. Any evil genius needs a lair. Luckily, by sheer chance, all 5 geniuses just so happen to be skilled architects, and design the base themselves. You'll need to build different rooms with mostly different items that all do different things, like a vault for money, electrical for power, barracks for your minions to sleep, your own personal large room that any 7-year-old would have loved, hallways to lay traps, and a casino to gamble. You know, the usual for any evildoer. Each one helps you take over the world in their own unique ways. So, now you know how to build layers, it's time to pick your genius. The geniuses are the most important thing in the game. It's the first choice you're presented with in the game. For some, it's a hard choice, but don't worry, I'll help you decide which you want to pick. First, we have Maximilian. Oh, Maximilian, my beloved. There's nothing bad about this man, and a great choice for a first playthrough, as he starts with more minions, trains them quicker, and makes you more rich quicker. Great choice overall. Next up, we have Emma, and she exists. Emma is my least favorite gameplay-wise. She can decrease heat better, which makes it so you have an easier time against agents, both of which we'll get to later. But she can make your henchman's ability cooldown reset, which isn't that good because she can die really quickly in a fight. After the worst, we have the second best, Red Ivan. Oh, Red Ivan, the Giga Chad of this game. Ivan is great for 2 reasons. He trains better muscle minions and has a rocket launcher. I don't believe I need to say more. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you the best genius, Zalika. She is just an amazing genius, as she will fix anything in her vicinity in 2 seconds, and can research quicker. She is also one of the 2 geniuses who can help with endgame fights. And finally, we have the DLC genius, Polar. She is the only genius who is being evil for a good reason, being Greta Thunberg, saving the world from global warming. She makes minions lose smarts and morale slower, which makes them more productive, and can make minions drink a cup of pure caffeine to make them even more productive for a short while. I talked a fair bit about minions while talking about geniuses, but what do they actually do? Well, everything that you're too lazy to do, like building, distracting agents, fighting off agents, and using massive laboratory equipment that your minions built to research stairs. There are many different minion types, all in their own categories of normal, deception, science, and muscle, plus a DLC one. In science, for example, you have either technicians that can fix things, or 3 different types of scientists that will research new items for you. A normal minion can turn into most other minion types by training, which doesn't take too long. Usually. Ah, henchmen, the staple for any true evildoer. And luckily, this game gives you plenty of options when it comes to them. You can have an old man who's actually busted, a sushi chef, a magician, a hunter, a weapons expert, and a robot, just to name a few. Henchmen, just like minions, fall into science, muscle, or deception categories. Muscle means that they're just really strong, deception means they will linger in your casino instead of wandering around the lair, and science is just science, nothing more to it. Each henchman also has 2 different abilities. Let's take a look at one of the best henchmen, Jubei, and see his abilities. He can teleport on command and make himself an incredible amount stronger for a short period of time. Each henchman will vary in their own unique ways, but there is one thing that I haven't said about henchmen. Why are they even here? To fight off agents. This game has now decided to send agents your way, to either gather information, kill everyone, steal money, or destroy all of your stuff. Agents over time get harder, but also easier, as you have more tools to deal with them. But then, out of nowhere, come the horrible, despicable, utterly base-destroying individuals known as super agents. Super agents have one goal in life: to make your life a living misery. Two of them anyways. The rest are actual jokes. Super agents are meant to stop you from committing too many crimes on the world stage, but most are so easy to deal with that you don't even have to try to stop them. But there are two super agents that you should watch out for. Those being Atomic Olga and Miss Foxworth or Agent Steel. Do not, and I repeat, do not fuck with these two. Your base will be vanquished if you do. Although, in the second most recent update, they added the choice of either killing the super agents or getting them as henchmen. I wouldn't recommend the option of a henchman, as they only have one unique ability each, while the other ability is a recharge, as the super agents cannot rest in a place dedicated for henchmen to rest after being knocked down. But the choice is still there if you truly want it. But how do you activate these super agents? Well, you do that on the world stage. So great at transitions. I won't spend too much time on the world stage, as it's quite boring, and I would say that you only spend around, at most, 7 to 10% of your time there. The world stage is where you can commit crimes and gain money, but doing crimes raises your heat, and higher heat means a harder time against agents. And as agents get harder, they will appear in more and more annoying places that can be harder to defend against. Many times in the game will you be presented with the options to do side missions, that each give a unique reward for completing them. Some main rewards for side missions take a few side missions to actually get. You can either get new minion types, get a new henchman, kill a super agent, or get loot. Loot is a type of item that is either fully visual or has some kind of bonus connected to it. Some give bonuses to minions, others act like traps or security cameras, and others hold money. You should always get loot when you can, as there's never a good reason not to. This game had a few DLCs released up to a year after the game's release. 3 of these were free, while the others were paid. I'll be rating them in a tier list, starting with the free ones in order of release, then paid ones in order of release. The Pyro DLC was the first free DLC, and came out with the Rise of the Valkyries DLC. The Pyro DLC gives you a new henchman, Pyro, from the hit kids game Team Fortress 2. He's a really good henchman that can survive many waves of enemies without being knocked out once. And the DLC also has 3 new loot items from Team Fortress 2. The only problem with him is that he sets things on fire, so solid A tier. The Portal pack is easy S tier. Firstly, it's Portal themed, and secondly, it gives you an entire new room to mess around with, which is something that only one other paid DLC does. The Portal pack gives you 3 new trap items, turrets, 4 new loot items, and cake. Don't try eat it. 2 of the new loot items are portals that you can actually place in the portal room, and they can actually teleport minions, agents, henchmen, and geniuses to wherever the other portals connect. I already said this, but S tier. This DLC is the final free DLC. It's an art book for the game, showing early concepts of different characters, weapons, and even some environments. Some of the designs I actually really wish they went with, like this one for Dr. Ming, or this one for Incendio. A tier. Now it's time for the paid DLC. Firstly, we have the Cabal Pack. The Cabal Pack is a henchman DLC, and just so happens to be the best one. You need to do 5 side quests to unlock him, which takes a bit. You get 2 loot items, one of which is a fancier interrogation chair with an added laser, while the other can make 4 different henchmen have a pretty new outfit. The henchman is great as well, with his abilities being incredibly useful and being strong in general. A tier. Next up, we have the Ingenious Items DLC. And this DLC sucks ass, and should have been part of the main game as items you can get in the research menu. You get some real neat items for sure, but most are actually useless. It shouldn't have been DLC, and there's not even a side quest to unlock them, or research to research. You only get them. D tier. After that disappointment of a DLC, we have the Rise of the Valkyries DLC. This DLC is another henchman DLC and is a lot worse than the Cabal Pack. No loot, only 3 side missions like any other henchman, and you get an okay reward for completing it. Not to say that Doomhild is a bad henchman, she actually pairs it pretty well with Pyro as she can't get set on fire. She's still a lot worse than the Cabal Pack. C tier. After that, we have the first Minion DLC, the Mechanical Minions Pack. This DLC is alright, it only takes 1 side quest and you have everything, but you get a new minion type, the Mechanical Minions. The upside of this minion is that it's very strong, can't get set on fire, and doesn't have to rest, sleep, eat. It basically works 24/7. The downside is that they explode on death, leaving a fire in the lair if there are too many flammable objects. They have to recharge every once in a while, so C tier. Huh? What's that? They have funny names. Okay, B tier. Then immediately after, we have the second Minion DLC, the Abomination Minions Pack. This DLC is even easier to get all the stuff from, as the side mission is only half as short as the Mechanical Minions DLC. The new minion type is made from dead bodies, turning them into reincarnated, dumb but strong soldiers that near death will become incredibly strong. They can also heal on their own. B tier. Finally, we have the final DLC, the Oceans Campaign Pack. This adds a new genius, Polar, with a new room type, 4 new loot items, new minion types, regions on the world stage, a temperature mechanic, a new island to build your base on, and new items in a new research menu. The new room and minions are engineers that will build submarines to explore the new ocean regions, turrets to fight against agents, and items to either heat or cool your lair due to the new temperature mechanic. With the new region comes a new super agent. He may be easy to deal with, but you do also have the choice of having him as a henchman, and I would recommend him over the other super agents for the simple fact of how useful he can be compared to the other super agents. Easiest here. Phew. Okay, I've rambled on about this game long enough. If you want a longer version with more detail, what do all the good YouTubers say? Like and comment down below, I don't know, something like that. Yeah, do what you want, you somehow managed to listen to my voice for a long time. That's good enough for me.